So you relapsed. Now what? It's okay. Take a moment, breathe, take a big breath. Now take a big breath with me. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And let's talk about it. All right, so you relapsed. I don't know, what did you relapse on? Probably alcohol. If you're part of my community and my following, we have a lot of sober people here. And we do a lot of talk about sobriety here on the channel and alcohol and things like that. But relapses are universal, whatever the substance is. But for the purposes of the video, we'll focus on alcohol. But even if it was something else, like, I don't know, another substance you're having trouble with, it doesn't really matter. Pause for a second. Sorry about that. I'm on the outskirts of a tiny little village in northern Thailand called Chiang Dao, and I'm on the outskirts of that village, so in this very nice, peaceful neighborhood, but also gotta watch my surroundings because I don't really know where I'm at. I'm just going for a stroll and taking you guys with me. So you relapsed. Well, let's take a moment to breathe and come back to center. Now, you're probably feeling a lot of emotions. You're probably feeling, 1, like a failure. 2, like you fucked up. 3, like you're never gonna get the sobriety thing right. You're never gonna quit. You're never gonna escape out of this pit and this negative cycle you're stuck in. You're never gonna get out of freaking hell. And every time you relapse and go back to the substance, it's so demoralizing because you feel like you'll never make it out. You feel like you'll never escape. And honestly, I'm gonna tell you right now, throw those feelings out the window, throw those beliefs out the window, because none of that's actually true. And that's just you being your own worst enemy. And if you do believe all that stuff I just said, then you will spiral. You will self-sabotage. You will probably go on a binge. You will probably use your substance of choice more and more. You will drink more and more, or use whatever it is more and more. And that's definitely not what you want to do. But what you want to actually understand is that relapsing and going back to the substance you're trying to quit is a very normal part of the process, and is to be expected, because when you quit anything that's addictive, it's always an uphill battle. 30% of your brain is the conscious mind, 70% of the brain is the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is what's addicted to the substance. So even though 30% of you is like real, like I want to quit this, I want to get my life back on track, I want to be healthy again, I don't want to do this substance anymore. So even though you at the core of your being, your deepest desire, and you as a person genuinely wants to quit and genuinely wants to move forward in life and genuinely wants to be better for this experience, that part of you is real. Like, don't ever doubt that. Like, you might think because you relapsed and you started drinking again that that part of you doesn't exist, or that you're not disciplined enough, or you're not motivated enough, or you're never going to get it right. Well, again, 30% versus 70%. That addiction is in the 70% of pre-programmed behavior. So relapses are part of the process. Now, take that with a grain of salt. I don't want you to think relapses are part of the process and use that as an excuse to go back to the substance, because then you're shooting yourself in the foot. And that's not what I'm saying here. When you relapse, it is part of the process, not an excuse for you to relapse, but it is a reason for you to not beat yourself up when you do relapse. And then again, when we're talking about the brain, guys, 30% versus 70%. Addiction, sobriety, changing habits and behaviors is always an uphill battle at the start. And it doesn't even apply to just like quitting alcohol or just substances. This could be like adopting new positive habits as well. So 1, it's an uphill battle because it's always 30% versus 70%. And now you're probably thinking like, man, those are just really daunting odds. How am I gonna ever get this right? Well, here's the thing. Whenever you do quit and you do stay sober, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, a month, a year, whatever it is, that time doesn't instantly get deleted because you went back to the substance. Sober time is sober time, and that is time invested in undoing the programming in your brain. Repeat that again. That is time invested in undoing the programming in your brain. And just because you went back to drinking and using a substance, it doesn't delete that programming. Because even though you're not aware of it and you feel like a loser and a failure, your brain is still doing what it needs to do to unprogram that addiction. Like the more days you go where you don't reach for that drink at 5 o'clock and you have a stressful day and you don't drink alcohol, those days are hard at first. But the more times you persevere through those experiences, eventually it will not get hard anymore. Eventually. So even though you relapse, even though you're drinking again, like, guys, it's okay. Breathe. That is a very normal part of the process. Don't beat yourself up about it, because if you beat yourself up, you will self-sabotage, you will spiral, you will use the substance more, you will feel like a failure, and you will go back down that pit of circling depression and sadness, anxiety, mental health, bullshit. You don't want that. What you want to do is look at this moment where you just relapsed and remind yourself of what's real about it. 1, normal part of the process. 2, that's not an excuse to keep relapsing. 3, undoing the addiction, the behavior in your head is an uphill battle. It's 30 versus 70. But eventually, guys, the tables do shift. So while starting out, it's conscious brain 30% versus subconscious 70%. But the more you scratch that record, the more you don't reach for that drink, the more you don't shoot up that substance, the more you don't smoke whatever it is you're smoking, or whatever your vice is, the more times you do that, it's scratching the programming. And then that 70%, that subconscious mind that predetermines all of our patterns and behaviors, like when you drive, you don't think about it. That's what happens when you stay sober long enough. And just because you used again doesn't undo your sober time. And eventually, guys, that 70% programming will overwrite the old programming. That programming that's telling you to drink, that's telling you to use, it's gonna get overridden eventually. So keep quitting till you quit. And don't beat yourself up when you do relapse, because it is part of the process. And eventually, guys, I promise you, your brain's programming will rewire, it will refire, and then you'll get to the other side. Like, what, I'm almost 3 years sober now, and it feels like a joke that I ever wrestled with my drinking, and that, like, I don't know, like, I see alcohol, it does nothing to me. Like, I look at it, I'm like, I don't miss it, I don't want to use it, I see it for what it is, I don't hate it. You know, it was a fun ride while it lasted, and I made peace with it. It's just a substance. It's a substance. Well, I'm kind of out of breath. It's a substance that no longer serves me anymore. And I'm sure whatever you're quitting is no longer serving you anymore. So guys, on that note, you relapsed. It ain't the end of the world, man. Just breathe. Tomorrow will be day 1 again. If it takes 100 more day 1s, it doesn't matter, because you will make it to the other side. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Usual business. Smash the like button, whatever, algorithm, blah, blah. And I'll show you a peak of the mountain. Isn't this freaking crazy? Look at how beautiful this place is. I can tell you for a fact, if I was still drinking, I would have never like left the States to just go like, you know, see the rest of the world and whatever else is out there. Stay strong, it ain't the end of the world. You got this. Bye. I'm lying. I'm not done yet. Okay, that was a very serious video. So actually for this part, I'm gonna invite you guys to take a little walk with me around the homestay I'm staying, and we'll go for a little walk in the garden. So this part, just hang out, enjoy, breathe, enjoy the scenery and the environment, guys. And let's, yeah, just chill, man. Day 1 again tomorrow. Y'all got this. Welcome to Southeast Asia, everybody. Like, you can probably just listen to the sounds of the nature. I'm gonna take y'all downstairs. We'll go through the garden real quick. See you on the next one, guys.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way.